sila po yung ang supposed to be the provider of the services.
Yeah, yeah.
Kaya lang sa amin po sila pumupunta, hindi naman namin pwedeng tanggihan.
Tama.
And hindi lang naman po kami nag-iimbestiga. So kung meron hong mga ganyang kaso, we also refer and coordinate with the agencies of the government na itong taong to may ganitong reklamo, pwede yung pakitulungan. So may mga ganun pong instances.
Yeah, Commissioner, go ahead.
Magandang umaga po. Sumali po ako sa Commission on Human Rights last year lang po. So, kumpara po sa mga kasama ko, katulad po ni Chair, ako po yung pinakabago. Ngunit kinararangal ko po na ang nasahin po sa akin na focal area ay ang tinatalakay po natin ngayon, ang right to health at ang right to food na isa po sa hinihingi namin sana na additional po sa aming budget. So, bagamat kinikilala natin na mayroong mga political rights na mahalaga sa in fact, in the generation of human rights, we consider these political rights as the first generation political rights, which form the basis of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the Economic and Social Cultural, the Convention on the Economic and Social Cultural Rights. These second generation rights, which comprise the right to health and the right to food, actually recognize the obligation of the state to provide the infrastructure for health services and health personnel to be available to their people. And so in the Sixth Commission, under the chairmanship of Attorney Richard Palpalatok, we wish to foreground these second generation rights, the right to food, the right to health, while access to them is individual and depends so much on the freedom of the individual to avail of them, they actually are the most inclusive of all rights. They do not need an entry point of age or gender to be availed of. Neither do they need the entry point of residence as in the right to vote. Right to health po at right to food ay kailangan ng lahat. In fact, sinasabi nga po ang right to food at right to health ay isang basic need. Ngunit ang katungkulan po ng Commission on Human Rights, danon po sa pagbabantay kung ang pamayanan, governance, is providing the infrastructure by way of services, personnel, other agencies to make these available, accessible, affordable, and most importantly, sustainable for all people. So yun po yung medyo bago na gusto naming ipalawak sa mandate namin. Thank you po.
Thank you for that. Well, I'm learning from you guys also. I don't claim to be an expert in human rights. Alam ng staff ko yan ay hindi ko, to be honest, the issues on human rights here in the Senate are very superficial knowledge, no. Nevertheless, I want to also learn about this aspect, especially that we have a specialized commission really dealing with human rights. That's why gusto kong maintindihan pa. And also related to budget, no. How is this, like you said, how is this right evolving? Kasi ang unang, typically for layman, pag sinabi mong human rights is civil political eh. Yan ang first instance, no? But that's why when I was asking, and sabi ng chairperson natin na it's evolving, natuto ako na nag-iiba rin pala, no? Ang demands ng kababayan natin or demands ng constituents natin.
Kaya po nagpapasalamat po kami na dinudulog po ito ngayon sa opisina ninyo para po marinig ninyo ano talaga yung ginagawang trabaho ng Commission on Human Rights.
Yeah.
At saka nag-evolve po kasi bago lang naman po ito noong 1987 bilang pagtugon sa martial law. Ngunit alam natin na mayroong mga karapatang pantao na talagang inherent na po sa ating pagkatao. Kaya lang, hindi po nasa surface dahil po sa pangangailangan noon, pero maaari ngayon, pangailangan na. Kasi hindi po ba meron tayong hinahabol na zero hunger goal at saka health po para sa lahat. Yun.
So ito yung mga SDGs in particular.
SDGs actually. I was about to say that, Mr. Chair. So pag titingnan niyo po yung Economic, Social, Cultural Rights Framework, it's more of aligned with the country's sustainable development goals. So it's basically social services. So kasama po dyan actually yung environment, life
Mm.
underwater, life above water.
Yeah, these are really the SDG goals.
At
So
kasama
ngayon
po
yun
yan.
na I would assume yun na nafo-focus na kayo
Yes.
on fulfilling the SDGs.
And these are human rights. So,
Yes,
so we also
correct,
focus with that.
correct. Yeah.
And-
And in the pie ngayon, Chairman, based on your estimate, sa 5,000 cases a year na nafa-file sa inyo, ilan na ngayon ang economic, social, cultural rights versus civil political rights? Estimate lang, more or less lang.
Ngayon. Civil. I don't have the actual number, Mr. Chair,
But
pero
yung ano lang, more or less lang, based on your, I'm sure in day out nakikita niyo yan.
so mas malaki pa rin po sa ngayon ang natatanggap naming complaints on civil rights.
Civil rights, okay.
Pero tumataas yung numbers on economic, social, cultural rights.
Okay.
Yung sector.
May 50-50 na ba?
Wala pa naman.
Wala pa. So mataas pa rin itong civil political
Yes.
rights
Yes.
na complaint.
Ang siguro ang challenge po kasi dito is because under the Constitution, the mandate of the Commission is to investigate violations of human rights involving civil political rights.
Mm.
So focus talaga siya based on the Constitution on the civil and political rights.
Mm.
Kaya lang, sabi ko nga, as the human rights is evolving, nagkakaroon na ng instances where economic, social, cultural rights are also being investigated by the Commission.
Mm.
Basta in relation to the civil and political rights. Kasi baka questionin din naman yung mandate ng office ng Commission on why are you investigating economic and social rights na wala naman sa mandato nyo. So, siguro yun po yung explanation kung bakit. But kung sakaling halimbawang include ang economic, social, cultural rights sa mandate ng Commission, definitely it will increase. Kasi po, poverty, food,
Malaki yan.
malaki po yun.
I would assume mas
Yes.
malaki yan.
Mas dadami po yun.
Oo. And how do you delineate kasi may mga like sinabi nyo kanina yung sa hospital, no? Let's take that as an example. That can be an LGU
Yes.
responsibility, even a barangay nga, no? Kung
Yes.
maliit na hospital yun. Or they can even file it in the courts, in the lower courts. So how do you delineate which one should be tackled by the CHRs, which one should be tackled by the LGU or even the lower courts, no? The lower courts can be, actually lower courts, meron pa silang mediation doon, di ba?
Yes.
Pinapamediate nila. But how do you delineate the responsibilities?
Sa ngayon po, the Commission is already discussing on shifting the policy. Before, the focus of the investigation is on the individual violators. So kung meron hong nag-violate ng rights, whether state actor or non-state actor, iniimbestigahan po ng Commission yung mismong nag-violate. But this time, we are already discussing on the shifting of the policy na hindi lang yan ang tignan, but also the actions of the government actors, those who are responsible in delivering the services, regulating the activities, na kasi the primary obligation in fulfilling human rights is it's the state. So it's the government actors that we should be looking into. So ngayon po, nagkakaroon na ng changes doon on how the Commission evaluates and investigates cases because right now, tulad po sa mga like gender-based violence, hindi na lamang po yung violator yung tinitingnan, kundi pati yung actions ng local government units under the Magna Carta of Women na dapat binibigyan nila ng services ang mga victims of sexual abuse. So, yun po yung that's how we address the changes and challenges right now. So we are also adjusting by to the demands of the times as well as on the nature of the mandates of the offices.
Namin, Chairman, yung budget for financial assistance over the years tumataas siya. And then, of course, there's a request this time. Yung mga complainants for economic, social, and cultural, do they also are they also allowed to get financial assistance?
Sa
Are they
ngayon-
eligible?
Sa ngayon po hindi kasi based on our guidelines sa only victims of grave human rights
It's a grave
violations and
lang.
civil and political rights. So kung masasama po yung victims of violations of economic, social, cultural rights, definitely hindi po sasapat yung budget na hinihingi namin.
Baka pag natuto yung tao na kung hindi sila nakakuha ng some government services, matuto sila pumunta sa human ACHR rather than let's say sa barangay. Kasi sa barangay meron, 'di ba, may lupon tagapamayapa. That's another venue, or sa courts meron silang mediation. So there's actually maraming levels for a constituent to seek redress or seek kahit na yung mediation lang or adjudication. But ako, ngayon ko lang nalaman that they can also go to the CHR. Sige, Commissioner. Go.
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. Idagdag ko lang po na isa sa requirement bago makapag-grant ng financial assistance ang Commission on Human Rights ay dapat magkaroon po ng findings ng human rights violation. Meaning, it must undergo investigation either from our regional offices and then ma-elevate po sa Commission. So yun po yung requirement. Hindi po lahat ng lumalapit or nagpa-file ng complaint sa amin ang nabibigyan ng financial assistance. There must be a finding of human rights violation bago po kami makapag-grant. And also, doon po sa usapin natin kanina on, let's say, problem with hospitals. No? Aside from the investigation na kinakandak po namin kung may mga reklamo, we also dispatch quick reaction teams. Specific example would be there was a victim, there was a patient in one of the hospitals, I think in Las Piñas, na tumawag na hindi po siya pinapalabas dahil kulang yung kanyang pambayad. And what we did was we dispatched a team, went there, and reminded the hospital that that what they're doing is against the law because there is already a law which prohibits yung parang hostage until such time na makapagbayad. And the reason there is the more na nandun yung pasyente, the more na mababaon siya. And when our team went there, pinalabas yung pasyente. Meron ng mga documentations na ginawa. And so ganun po yung isa rin po yun sa ginagawa ng CHR, yung pagdi-dispatch ng quick reaction teams. Mas maganda po na ma-prevent na yung occurrence ng human rights violation. Para sa amin, mas maganda pong scenario yun.
Rin yan sa Valenzuela, I think 2 years ago. Yeah, last year, 2 years. Yeah.
Yes, as a matter of fact, Your Honor, the mayor went to our office
To consult.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And we came up with a press statement regarding that specific hospital, Your Honor.
Yeah, I think the output of that is they came out with an ordinance, so to prevent that from happening. And an extended output is some of our senators filed a law to prevent that because apparently it's a gap in our laws. So I think it's Senator Risa and Senator Erwin Tulfo who filed the bill to bawal na i-hostage yung mga may sakit o yung cadaver pag hindi pa makabayad. So, but it's at least there are more avenues now for our constituents to go and seek redress or seek assistance. CHR, LGU, the more the better, of course. It's like I wanted to understand the number of cases that you were handling and of course how you handle all of these cases and the type of cases. But malaki yung binaba, from 28,000 yun, 3,000 na lang. So that's actually a commendable feat. And then yung mga civil political cases na fina-file sa inyo na majority pa rin in the number of cases. Are these filed against government? Ano ba yung nature nitong mga cases na ito?
So there are cases filed against government actors. Pero meron din pong mga instances where the violators are private individuals or unidentified individuals.